I'm back home. I'm Lori, and I have been with Carol. I'm just starting week 6. I'm on the Monterey Peninsula, and I just got home from traveling for 4 weeks. So I'm back home trying to catch up on everything. So and I had a lot of successes because I didn't know where I stood for 4 weeks in some ways. I did my measurements last week after our coaching call, and I lost 5 inches on my waist.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so wonderful.
I couldn't believe it. I measured twice. I just couldn't believe it.
Your pants must be just falling off of you.
My clothes are definitely loose. They're much looser. I came home to a 5-pound loss as well. So in 4 weeks,
High fives.
5 pounds. Yes.
How many times has that happened in your life where you go on vacation and lose weight?
Vacation's pretty easy because I don't have to deal with all the other family that lives here and
Okay.
all the other foods. So
Okay.
it's much easier when I'm away in many ways. I'm feeling good. I haven't hit that energy peak that you talk about. I keep hoping it's going to kick in, but since I've done keto off and on for, like I said, for a year before I really got serious with you, I don't know if it's going to get better than it is. I'm hoping that it will, because I could still use a little more energy. I seem to be sleeping better, which also is really nice.
Excellent.
I'm still, your timing with the keto, with the carb creep was last week was really timely.
Okay.
Because I started noticing that my numbers were going down when I was testing my blood, and I thought, that's interesting. And I started looking. Okay.
I'll see you later.
I'll see you later. Husband's leaving. So, I started looking and realizing, yeah, I was pushing it right at the 20 all the time. So,
Okay.
and I had some berries, and that definitely made it more difficult to stay within the 20.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've realized that for me, cream is a food I probably should not have around. It's
Okay. Okay.
one of those things that I want more of when I have it. And I want it on berries. So
Okay.
between the two, it's just probably better if I just sort of hold back on that. And
Okay.
so I'm not buying cream. It's just better to not have it. So,
That's
but otherwise, when I look back on all this, it's like I had a birthday party for my grandson last night, and I made keto dinner. My son-in-law's diabetic, so he was totally great with it. So, we had a very nice keto dinner, and for dessert, we had a dessert, and it didn't tempt me in the least. And what I realized was that passing up on a dessert is easier now than it was when I was eating them on a regular basis.
yeah. Yeah.
It was so much more of a struggle, and so much more, it seemed impossible to
Yeah.
keep myself from it. And, when I'm on track, it's not that hard. So I just got to remember that, once I start, it's going to get harder, not easier. So, so the cravings, I've just, the mindset stuff is really, really helpful, Carol. I think it's the piece that I've been looking for. And the addiction, the brain stuff is well, that's why I signed up with you. Remember,
Yeah.
it's the brain stuff. It's not just the weight. I mean, it is. I realized that the reason I couldn't reach my weight goals is because of the food, brain, craving, addictions, whatever you want to call it. And so, my concerns now, I look at it. I'm starting to look ahead and thinking about longer term goals and maintenance, and I'm getting closer to my goal, so I'm almost there. So that I assume that's coming up in weeks 7 and 8, how to maintain, and I know I flaked out about last time. I mean, I did this last year for 6 months and did pretty well, but then I hit that 6-month wall, and I don't know what changes at that point. But for me, I had a much harder time again. So that's a conversation for another day, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I just love all that you're sharing and all the insights that you're having too. And Catherine dropped and come back. And welcome, Catherine.
Hi,
And
I'm having trouble getting my
camera to work. Okay. I can still see that you're here. I can't see you, but I can still see that you're with us. So yeah, so Lori, I love too the insights you're having about how much easier it is when you're not having desserts. And I know that you came into this having very, very strong sugar cravings addiction. And that was a really big concern of yours, is like, can I actually kick that? And we've got a lady that's just starting up recently too, that's kind of that same boat. And so I love that you're sharing that, it's as promised, doing these things and that the way that I outline them do actually make a huge difference in how you can actually, have that willpower that felt like you never had before. So.
Well, even when I was eating keto sweetened, I mean, I was still having, I don't know if it leads to it, or maybe I'm just better to leave that alone too.
Yeah, I mean, even though it's not technically sugar, it still feeds the part of the brain that makes us want those things. So that's exactly why I have you guys avoid them.
Watch for.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I have to watch for. And then, of course, next month. What's next month? The carb holiday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if we'll be talking about that in the upcoming weeks, but
yeah, you'll get an invite to schedule at the end of your 9 weeks. You get an invite to schedule a phone call with me for I call it an exit interview, and we just assess how far you've come and put together a plan of what you need going forward. So at that point, some people are ready to go on their own. Otherwise, we have some options for staying on to have access to all this for long term too. So
okay.
Yeah, so don't worry, we got the parachute there for you. So
the egg fast. Can you do it for less than 3 days?
I haven't seen that it does much good if you do it for less than that.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean,
you know that I want to eat eggs for 3 whole days.
As part of why it works, right, is that you get sick of that one food and you want to eat less of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't really. I mean, you might if you do it a day, you might see some water weight drop, but it's going to come back in the next day or two or something like that. So it's
as I'm looking at getting the last few pounds that I want off. I'm not looking to be skinny, but I want those last couple pounds are always the last 5 or 10 is the hardest sometimes. So.
Yeah, and instead of a quick drop into that, since you're so close, is that and you're also asking about, how do I maintain this? And that's my goal for everyone, is that everything you've been doing up to this point is your maintenance. So it's not like you have to figure out some new way of eating now that you lost the weight. You just keep going with what you're doing. And, keeping an eye on things like you have where, the carb creep. Okay, so let's go back to basics. Or so you're just going to just slide gently into the rest of your life doing exactly what you've been doing. For me, what that looks like is sometimes, I keep an eye on the scale occasionally and it's like, I'm up a few pounds. Like, okay, so what am I doing? I'm snacking. Let's get the nuts out of the house or something like that. And just kind of resetting and going back to those basics things. And it's not like I've got to, oh man, I blew it. I got to go big changes. Usually at that point, it's just little changes that'll make a really big difference for you. So,
yeah. And again, it's for that kind of stuff, it's the mindset.
Yeah.
Back on track. So.
Yeah. And, just finding ways of, what is it that's going to be your long-term motivation? What is it that's going to help you stay in the zen of how good you feel and how easy this is when you're staying on track?
Well, and not beating yourself up, because then you get into the negative mode of, I failed again. So instead of going into something a little more positive. So I think that's the thing that I've really gotten from all the, classes and coachings that I've heard is, staying positive makes a big difference.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate the help.
Yeah, it's been great. And
Wonderful.
thanks for sharing your freedom, but also the empowerment you felt about being able to resist desserts, which is a big one for you. So
Well, I'm coming through the holidays. This is the best time to be on this.
yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
talks about starting after. I think it's the best time to start before, so you don't have even more going on.
yeah. Laura, that's such a great point because yeah, it's easier, like you said, it's going to be easier to resist it if you're staying on it. And the truth is there's so many great keto options for all the holiday things, and then you get to feel alert and awake and happy and positive interacting with all the friends and family when instead of feeling irritable and grumpy and tired and all the other things. So
Okay, well, that's it for me.
all right, thank you, Lori.